Hey Peter and whoever else is watching this is my No Country for Old Men presentation. Hopefully throughout the presentation you can hear everything okay, because I'm using equipment to film it that wouldn't otherwise be used for gaming. My presentation is going to focus largely on sound, lighting, and acting. Hope you enjoy it! The 2007 Academy Award-winning crime thriller, No Country for Old Men, is the movie adaptation of the Cormac McCarthy novel of the same title. The film was directed by the Coen brothers, Joel and Ethan Coen, and stars Tommy Lee Jones, who plays an elderly, seemingly run-down sheriff by the name of Ed Tom Bell, Javier Bardem, a sadistic hitman by the name of Anton Chigurh, who can only be described as the human Terminator, and Josh Brolin, who plays Llewellyn Moss, a Vietnam veteran, a welder, and a hunter who came across a huge sum of money. The plot in a nutshell. Whilst hunting, Llewellyn comes across a drug deal that's gone horribly wrong. Horribly wrong in the sense that there's dead bodies everywhere. Llewellyn begins searching the scene and he finds a wounded Mexican begging for water who he ignores. While scouting the area near the deal, he finds a dead man and a case that contains $2 million in it. After stashing the money at his house, Llewellyn goes back to the scene under the shadow of night with water for the Mexican, only to find that he's been shot in the head, and shortly after his arrival, people who are on the search for the drugs and the money arrive as well. A chase begins when Llewellyn fails to hide from these men, and from here on, the movie becomes one big chase after it's also found out that Anton Chigurh, a hitman with no emotion, has been hired to find the money, by any means necessary. Oh, and Ed Tom Bell is following the trails of Llewellyn and Chigurh, trying to stop the crimes before Llewellyn is killed. Opening sequence. The film begins by introducing the setting and one of the main characters, Ed Tom Bell, who is talking about his family's history as lawmen and about how the area he watches over is seeing a new increase in acts of violence. The audience are shown shots of a vast deserted wilderness at dawn. This gives the audience an idea on just how desolated and alone someone would be if they were out here. The choice of starting the film at dawn was planned out very well because of what dawn symbolizes, the beginning of a new day and story. The second shot we are shown in this opening sequence is of 3 power poles. One is in good condition, but the other 2 are bent and crooked. This is used to give us a sense of disrepair and to inform the audience that where this film is set isn't well financially aided. Acting. The acting in No Country for Old Men is done to an incredibly high standard, ensuring that each character is believable. Josh Brolin's character, Llewellyn, is shown as a man of monotone and action. As soon as he finds out that he's being chased, and has even been shot, he shows no signs of panic that the average human would. He simply goes and tells his wife, Carla Jean, that she's going to stay with her mother, dresses his wound, and as soon as she's gone, gets down to business. The actor shows here that his character is a grounded and logical person who is close to impossible to scare or intimidate. Rather than panic, Llewellyn removes any ties that he would have to this area so that he can keep his wife and himself safe. Josh also depicts Llewellyn as an expert hunter and tracker. This is evident when Llewellyn tracks down the last man standing after arriving at the drug dealer in the beginning of the film. Also, during the hotel scene, whilst in a cab, Llewellyn gets the driver to go past slowly so he can scout out whether someone is waiting for him or not. After a brief examination, his hunter instincts tell him that it's a trap, and he moves on to another motel. Javier Bardem's acting in this film can only be described as brilliant. Anton Chigurh is a sadistic hitman who really loves his job. Javier manages to make us believe Chigurh's love for killing in almost every one of the murders he commits. Whenever Chigurh kills, he either shows no remorse and no emotion, or he smiles with that sick twisted smile that strikes fear into people. Even after strangling a police officer, he releases a sigh of pleasurable relief, then goes about uncuffing himself and cleaning off. Even by his tools of the trade, we get a clear image of what kind of a man Chigurh is. Chigurh uses a device called a captive bolt gun, otherwise known as a cattle gun. This air-compressed gun, normally used for knocking out cattle before they're killed, fires a heavy rod from inside of it, delivering a blow which, well, in this case, is lethal. It also leaves a clear entry hole but no exit hole, leaving a mystery to whoever's trying to identify the weapon. Shigeru is also shown as a man of action, very much so like Llewellyn. If there's anything he needs to do, he does it without question, whether it's kill someone for their car, to blow up a car in order to get medical supplies. Shigeru is an unstoppable force. Tommy Lee Jones plays Ed Tom Bell, a simple sheriff who is reaching retirement. Though he is shown as a reasonably simple lawman, he's also shown as smarter than other law enforcers, such as his young deputy. Whilst trying to find Llewellyn, Ed and his young deputy go to the trailer where the Mosses live. It is there that we see Ed's attention to detail as a sheriff. Though his young deputy fails to notice, Ed spots a pitcher of milk that had been left out. He's able to tell from the condensation that's left on the outside of the glass that he and his young deputy had just missed who they thought was Mr. Moss, when really it turned out to be Shigeru. Despite his heightened attention to detail, and his power and influence as a sheriff, Ed Tom Bell's unable to save Llewellyn in the end, and retires shortly after. Sound. The sound in this film can be summed up in one word: natural. Unlike almost every film of any genre, this film contains almost no extra sound in it, other than what would naturally occur in the environment in which each scene is filmed. No music is used in this film. There is no music added to the background to add suspense or a theme to a scene, such as happiness or sadness. In fact, it's this lack of sound that makes certain scenes more suspenseful and thrilling. In almost every horror or thriller film, there's a large build-up of a certain chord or sound that's unappealing to the ear and that stops right before something scary happens, whereas in this film, the lack of sound makes every action or gunshot a surprise, making your heart race whenever something happens because you have no time or a cue to prepare yourself. There is only one scene in particular which uses a non-natural sound, and that scene comes from near the start of the film. When Shigeru is strangling an officer in the police station, there is the sound of a train passing, and it stops when Shigeru kills the officer. As this scene is shot indoors, it's hard to tell whether it's actually a train passing or a symbol to represent the coming and passing of the officer's life. Either way, this is the only time, clearly, where a sound has been added. Lighting. The lighting, or lack thereof, plays an important part in this film. The lighting in this film is itself a symbol of characters. The light represents Llewellyn, where the darkness represents Shigeru. From the moment we're first introduced to Shigeru, he is shrouded in shadows, and this theme tends to play on throughout the whole film, giving a sense that he is darkness itself, and the film plays on this fact. Tying into this theme, Shigeru's murders become darker as the film goes on. Rather literally, I might add. Shigeru's first two murders take place during the day when the sun is up, and from then on they become darker, which gives the impression that everyone's now in his territory. He's the boss, no one stands a chance against him. Which is true, but this just emphasizes it. The briefcase in which the money is held is also a symbol of darkness for Llewellyn. When Llewellyn first finds the case, it's surrounded in darkness by the shade of the trees. This is to represent the negative ties that are connected to the case and also the mysteries that it could bring. Also, from this point on, Llewellyn is never seen holding the case during the day, and if he is, it's never outside. Llewellyn realizes that this case is meant to stay in the mystery and the danger of the darkness, and if he has any hope of keeping it, he has to keep it where it belongs. Color also plays a large part in this film, along with light. Though this film is a crime thriller, it contains an element commonly found in almost all old Western films, the color of clothing. In most film and media, color is used to differentiate between good and evil. The examples of this are red versus blue, black versus white, etc. Typically in Western films, however, there are earthy tones, such as browns of different shades, versus black. Llewellyn wears brown almost all the time in the film. This earth tone is used to show that this person isn't threatening and is one with nature. This person is simple and lives off the land. Whereas black, worn by Shiger, is a power color. It makes us feel like this person is a threat. It's a fearful and intimidating color which is commonly used to represent bad or evil. The last 20 minutes of the film bring it to a surprising end. The audience expectation is let down. Though it's more than reasonable to suspect that Llewellyn will be killed by Shiger, he meets his untimely end at the hands of the men who have been tracking him from when he first got hold of the case. The last we see of Shiger is after he's been to see Carla Jane. Upon leaving the house, his car is hit by another car at high speed. Wounded, Shiger exits the car and offers some money to a nearby adolescent for his shirt to use as a makeshift sling so he can flee the scene before police arrive. Finally, the film ends in a very different way than it started. We see Ed Tom Bell talking to his wife about a dream that he had during the night before this conversation. Though this closing shot of Ed talking is much like the opening sequence, it's a completely different setting. The opening sequence was of a great open landscape stretching far and wide, whereas this closing sequence is in Ed Tom Bell's dining room, giving a trapped, closed-off feeling to the end of the story. As the scene goes on, we find out that Ed has now retired and dreamt about meeting his father. It is at this point it's evident that the tale, much like Ed's life as a lawman, has ended. So that's the end of my presentation. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope it was satisfactory, Peter. Hope to see you at school soon. Bye!